Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming this lesson to you from beautiful Victoria on the southern tip of Vancouver Island here in Western Canada. I hope that all of you are having a studious and enjoyable weekend so far. Students, in this class we are looking at IELTS Speaking Part 3, the final part of your speaking section. And this is following Speaking Part 2, the cue card, our previous class that concluded about 30 minutes ago, which was talking about an unusual object. We talked about the spork. Some of our students talked about other objects such as a handheld fan and a transparent face mask. That was really impressive. Welcome, Mital. Welcome, Aryan. Nice to see students joining in. Hi, Lamia. Hi, Amrit. I'm happy to hear, Aryan, that your IELTS exam went well. That is awesome. This Speaking Part 3 will be about buying electronics and household items. Those will be the specific topics following the Part 2 cue card, and the lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com and gieltshelp.com. Those are the websites that we use in these live classes. They are the websites that have our speaking interface so that we can actually speak to students during the speaking class, as well as practice exams, lesson videos, interactive courses with all of our strategies. So be sure to check out the websites. We will use the website today for this speaking lesson. This is our academic IELTS website here at aehelp.com. Click this big red button that's just above my head there to join our premium IELTS package. It's a one-time payment, not a lot of money. You get lifetime access. We are an official British Council partner, Test Registration Center for IELTS. We're affiliated and partnered with IDP as well. We're certified British Council agents. So you are in excellent hands with us getting ready for your upcoming test. We help thousands of students daily. For general IELTS, visit us at gieltshelp.com, and again, click this big red button there to join our premium IELTS package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access, so you're going to enjoy it and benefit from it greatly. All right. Sieta, I see that you're saying you joined our premium package from Pakistan. That's awesome, Sieta. If you ever have questions, just let us know. Sarah, good to see you in the class as well, coming back to study. Students, the apps, you can certainly get those. It's a good idea. The apps work with the websites. Academic IELTS Help from your app store. You will see our logos, General IELTS Help. We have lots of downloads. They're really useful. Give us a positive review when you can. People sure like to give negative reviews when they feel like, but positive reviews are always appreciated. Instagram, IELTS_AE-help and GIELTS help. We post lots of information, vocabulary on Instagram as well. And then for questions, you can always send an email to adrian@aehelp.com, or you can use the website. There's a way to send questions through the contact button also. So questions are welcome. We're happy to help students. We always tell students that your success is our success. So when we learn that our students get their band scores, they get into university, or they're able to travel abroad, immigrate to another country, that makes us really, really happy. So definitely let us know. All right, students, tomorrow at around the same time, we will have a couple of classes. One of those classes will be on Lighthall. Lighthall is a new learning platform online. It's kind of like YouTube, but it's real time, and they have video and audio function for students as well. So be sure to sign up for Lighthall. And we will also have a Discord event tomorrow at around this exact time There's the link for the Discord event. Those will be some more speaking classes. Those are usually the classes most students are looking for, so we have many of them. But we also have writing, listening, reading classes throughout the week. So we'll have a full class next week also, starting on Thursday. And we did just release a new speaking video. It's a mock interview with a candidate from Indonesia. Check that out. I'll put that into the chat also. I've put a few different links into the chat, so check out those links. Okay. All right. Mittal says, I want to be a member of your lecture, but it's not possible. Message says error. If that's on YouTube, Mittal, let me know. Send me an email. YouTube membership, for example, for Apple users is a bit tricky, but there are solutions. So send me an email, Mittal, and then we will help you out, okay? All right. Students, IELTS Speaking Part 3. At this point, you're probably about 8 minutes into your exam. So you're about halfway, maybe a little past halfway into your exam. And IELTS Speaking Part 3 is really where the band 7, 8, 9s are separated from each other because these questions are specific. They require a higher level of English as well as communication and thinking. So for Speaking Part 3, you can definitely do a good job as long as you follow some important tips. Tip number 1 is remember your Part 2 response. In this case, we talked about the spork, the spoon fork, for example. But if you're Dwi, you might be talking about the transparent face mask. If you're Zarina, you might be talking about the handheld fan. So you remember your response for Part 2 and your other ideas. So in Part 2, you should have 2 or 3 possible answers for the cue card, and you should remember all of them because they become useful in Part 3. And then my second tip for today is to make sure that you are using the answer explanation example strategy. So use the question. That's tip 3. And the question grammar in your answer. If this is not clear yet, don't worry. We will focus on this in the class. You're going to learn this and practice this, okay? And you will do fantastic. So let's practice a question and an answer together, and then you will see what I'm talking about more specifically, okay? So just have to clean up the chat here a little bit as Carolina is not here today to help us do that. All right. Okay, Amrita's asking, can you do something about that? I sure can. Okay, so let's do this. Let's look at IELTS Speaking Part 3. So the way this goes is when you're finished your cue card response, the examiner will say, your time is up. Please stop speaking. Please put the note paper, the pencil to the side. I will take back the questions, and now we will continue with Part 3. For this part, I will ask you some questions related to your response in the topic of Part 2. Let's talk about buying electronics. Why? Well, electronics, sometimes you see some unusual items there, of course, right? And then they will ask you the first question. So as soon as you hear this, let's talk about buying electronics, think about the last time you bought a TV, a computer, a phone, maybe some other electronics. So think about those cases and then that will help you. And then think about these strategies. So let's look at this first question. People like to buy electronic devices online as well as in physical stores. What do you think are the main differences between these two types of shopping? Okay, So give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. Then we will compare our answers and discuss how to get those nice high band scores. Okay, I'm going to type up my answer. You take a moment to do the same. Put your answer in the chat, and then we'll compare. Now remember, students, that this is speaking, so make sure to speak and repeat. Okay, don't just listen, because then it becomes a listening exercise. You want this to be a speaking exercise. So speak and repeat. Copy what I say, copy how I say it. If you must, then read from the screen a little bit. If you can, then do it without reading from the screen as well. Okay. All right, here we go. So instead of people, let's use the word customers, because it's a more specific noun, okay? Customers who purchase electronics online often get a better deal than when they buy in a brick and mortar shop, as there is greater competition. However, if there are any problems with the online purchase, it may be more difficult to return the item, as it needs to be shipped back. In fact, I bought a camera online last year at a great price, just under $300, but it was defective, and it took me more than a month to get a replacement. All right. So that is my answer there. So thinking about online shopping, quick thinking, online shopping, it's convenient. We do it from home. It's often cheaper. We don't have to leave our houses. We just go online, click buy. The company mails us the electronic item, and then it arrives. But sometimes the item gets damaged during transport, and then you have to return it to the sender. Now you need to get a box for it, go to the post office, or call the courier, have them pick it up. You have to wait for them at your home to meet them, or you have to go to the post office to drop it off. It's a hassle. It takes a while for the item to get returned, your money put back on your card, as where in an actual physical store it's much easier. So these are the kind of ideas that come to mind, and then I just need to know how to explain it. So pay attention to the vocabulary here as well. Okay, everybody, so here we go. And notice how I answer, explain, and give an example. So my example is, I just came up with it. It's not true, but it's an easy situation to imagine. I bought a camera, could be a laptop, could be another digital item, for a certain amount of money. It was defective. I had to return it. Okay, my example explains or emphasizes my explanation, right? Here we go. One more time, the question. So let's talk about buying electronics. Notice how we're focusing on electronics and not a t-shirt, not a pair of shoes, okay? So make sure you really pay attention. This is why using the question in your answer is very useful. So people like to buy electronic devices online as well as in physical stores. What do you think are the main differences between these two types of shopping? Okay, here's the answer. Customers who purchase electronics online often get a better deal than when buying in a brick and mortar shop, as there is greater competition. Okay, brick and mortar means it's a physical store. However, if there are any problems with the online purchase, it may be more difficult to return the item, as it needs to be shipped back. In fact, I bought a camera online last year at a great price, just under $300. but it was defective and it took me more than a month to get a replacement. That would be your band 9 level answer. Okay, so clear answer, clear explanation, focuses on the question, does not go off topic, stays with the concept of electronics, and gives clarity with numbers and with visual information. Okay. All right, Amrit, I will be doing other types of classes in Light Hall as well. So we're doing the speaking because Amrit, the Light Hall has really good functions for speaking, like the video chat. Okay, so that's why we like to do speaking there. But I will do writing and reading classes there as well. So thank you for saying that. It makes me feel confident about doing those kinds of classes. All right, so back to the point here. Anahita says, online purchasing, buyers do not lose time, but they cannot know the real quality of the electronics. In physical stores, people can directly touch and understand the quality of the products. Okay, what do you mean, Anahita, that buyers do not lose time? You have to explain that. So you have to say they do not need to go to the store. They can save time by staying on the computer at home and making the purchase right away, or even from their mobile phones. Okay, so Anahita, you have a good idea there. Just pay a little bit more careful attention to explaining your ideas. So when you say buyers do not lose time, you have to add a little bit of information there that explains what you mean that they do not lose time. Okay. All right. And then Anahita says, moreover, it is not essential for them to spend a lot of money, as when an individual wants to purchase an iPhone online, they will need to pay not only for the product, but also for the delivery, I think is what you're saying, not the transformation. Okay. All right. It's not a bad answer, Anahita. Just focus on clarity. Okay. So clear explanations. This is Rajveer Singh. The answer by Rajveer is, the primary difference of buying merchandise from online and offline store is in terms of time, effort, and money. What I mean is that a customer can purchase products from e-commerce websites with a few clicks and grab special deals, rather than spending hours of laborious effort to go to a brick and mortar store and pick out the item and carry it back home. Okay, good. Rajveer, that's excellent. So you've got a great start there, Rajveer. Just don't forget to include the example. Okay, make sure that you put a quick example, and then don't say for example, students. We have a whole video about that on our YouTube channel. Don't say for example or for instance. Okay, so you want to just give the example. All right, Omer Jan. I like, that's good, Omer Jan, you said. Okay, this is Cerberus, but it's actually Omer Jan. So let's see here. Omer Jan says, I think that the main difference between physical stores and online stores is that in physical stores, people can touch and use the electronics, while in online stores, people can only watch some reviews. A month ago, I bought a new keyboard online by watching some reviews on YouTube. Okay, good. That's a good answer, Omer Jan. Emphasize the fact that you're talking about electronics. The keyboard certainly helps with that. Okay, and that's a great answer. It doesn't have to be extremely complex. Okay, it's nice and concise. All right, Rajveer says, I have added an example as well. I see that, Rajveer. Okay, let me put that back in there. So here we go. Rajveer says, I did put an example in there, Adrian. I know that. I didn't see it. I didn't catch it the first time, but here's Rajveer's example. Recently, I purchased a smartphone from Amazon with a whopping 20% discount compared to an offline store. Okay, I don't think you need that last part, Rajveer, because it's clear from what you said. So to be more concise, you can just say, recently I purchased a smartphone from Amazon with a whopping 20% discount. Whopping is a good word. Whopping, students, means like an amazingly large. Okay, an amazingly large 20% discount. A whopping. That's why Burger King has the Whopper. It's a big burger. Okay, so whopping. That's a good word. All right. I see some other good answers coming into the chat now from Baljit as well as Irani, which is fantastic. Students, I do want to spend most of this class actually speaking with you, because that's where the magic really happens, is when we talk to each other. That's when we discover our flaws, our strengths, our weaknesses, and that's where we can learn to improve from each other by speaking with me and by listening to your peers. So let's do that. Let's dig right into some live speaking. During the last few classes of the week, I really like to focus on just getting you to speak, because as Zarina said in the last class, practice makes perfect, right? So let's do that. So we're going to practice speaking part 3 with students, volunteering. Okay, so we'll continue with these questions, keep it fresh, keep it exciting, and we'll get right into it. So to volunteer for speaking, you need to go to our website. The website is aehelp.com. Okay, and let me show you this instead of just tell you this. So this is our website here, aehelp.com. Once you're at aehelp.com, you can click this big red button that's just right below the URL there, that's above my head, to join our premium package. Again, it's a one-time payment, doesn't cost much money. It will help you a lot to maximize the value of your IELTS exam. Hopefully you won't have to sit it a second time. Hopefully you get a great score. Or you can also click this green button to try it for free. The speaking interface is absolutely free for everybody. And then once you have done that, then you want to click on your student account. Now, if you're registering or if you log in regularly, it will probably log you in automatically, or just log in. Okay. And then once you're logged in here, you see that there are a lot of assets for you: computer-based practice exams, a fully interactive course. You have a QR code for downloading the app easily. You can contact us, but what we're looking at right now is this student partner speaking. That right there is the button that you need to press. And then once you hit that button, then you are in the chat interface. Now you have to accept our terms, that little pop-up. It basically means that you're going to play nice with everybody. You will be respectful, and you're going to take responsibility for your speaking. So don't share personal information like phone numbers and such. And then you see that on the left-hand side, there will be a list of users online. We have Omir Jan, Mizad, Baljit. False is usually someone whose account is not appearing correctly. Pauline, Roshni Gupta. So we've got lots of people, and you see these little orange dots. They're basically the messages being sent to me right now to volunteer. You volunteer by sending a message, clicking the blue envelope to master. So you will see me there as master. Click on master, the blue envelope. Okay. This little blue envelope that you see right under Omir Jan's name. And then once you hit that, then you can send me a message, say, I want to volunteer, and then I can connect with you. So Omir Jan was very studious, was in the last class as well. I promised Omir Jan that we'd give him a chance, so we can start off with Omir Jan. Students, we have lots of time. Be patient, wait your turn. We've got a good hour in this class to really pick up the speaking practice, okay? So let's do this.
Hello?
Hi, Omirjan.
How are you?
Good. I think I surprised you a little bit there because I didn't message you back, right?
Yeah,
Okay, I was talking about you, so hopefully you heard that part. But hopefully it's a pleasant surprise anyway. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Okay, practicing lots. When is your IELTS exam, Omirjan?
31st July.
Last day of July. What a way to finish the month, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, good for you. So you've got a solid week left for studies, and you're doing exactly what you should be doing, which is just lots and lots of practice at this point, okay? One tip, Omirjan, is over the next couple of days, you should do a couple of like full practice exams where you're timing yourself, like you actually do the timing of the IELTS exam. So you do the listening in the 40 minutes, you do the reading in the 1 hour, you do the writing in the 1 hour, and you do the speaking in the allowed 12 to 15 minutes, okay?
Okay.
So timed exam, because the time pressure does become an issue. So you want to be comfortable with the timing. Okay, Omirjan, well, to help you with your exam at the end of the month, let's do some part 3 questions and answers. Omirjan, I know you were in the last class also. So try to use some of those ideas to answer these questions if possible, okay?
Okay.
All right, so here we go. Let's talk about buying electronics. People like to buy electronic devices online as well as in physical stores. What do you think are the main differences between these two types of shopping?
I think that the main difference between physical shops and online shops is that in physical shops, people actually can touch and use it, while in online shop, people only can watch some reviews in YouTube about this device. A month ago, I bought a keyboard by watching some reviews on YouTube.
Some common machines are dangerous for children. Can you give me an example of some and why they are dangerous?
I think there are a bunch of danger machines. The first thing that comes to my mind is cooker. Because, for example, when child cooking, they can hand burn, and this might end bad. And same situation with mixer. Children can just not read the instruction, and it can end badly.
How have electronics changed in the past 20 years?
I think electronics changed dramatically last past 2 decades. Devices become more personal and portable. Uh, uh, Laptops become more thin than 20 years ago. 2 months ago, I bought new computer that's I bet bought instead of old one, and I thought the difference. New computers are definitely more powerful and more portable.
Okay, good. Powerful and portable. Good. That was a good example to finish there. All right. So let me just kind of reflect some of your answers to these questions. And then instead of me telling you where you can make your sentences even better, you tell me what you think you can change to make it better. Okay, so
Well,
just bear with me. If you can't, don't worry, I'll help you, Omirjan. So what I'm doing here with Omirjan is a very important practice for everyone at home, especially if you don't have access to a native English speaking tutor or a person who is an expert in communication and IELTS, right? So you can review and check on your own as long as you know what you're looking for, and you should have kind of a list of items or strategies that you're looking for in your responses, and then when you catch those mistakes, then you can fix them, and then you can practice to make it even better. So it's self-review that we're focusing on here, Omirjan, okay? So I'm teaching this skill with your help. Is that okay?
yeah.
All right, let's do it. So I asked you, people like to buy electronic devices online as well as in physical stores. What do you think are the main differences between these two types of shopping? And you said, I think that the main difference between physical shops and online shops is that people can see it and touch it. So here, let's just stop there for a second. There's definitely a way to improve this. Now, before we talk about the improvement, what you're doing really well, and everybody should do this when you're sitting the IELTS exam, is using the question in your answer. And you did that really well, Omerjan, which allowed you to stay focused on the topic, and that really helped your score. By the way, your score would be about a 6.5 for your answers so far. What we want to improve is the coherence. We can always have more coherence, and maybe a little bit of grammar. So some of the words were mixed up, but not, we don't have to worry about that too much yet. So in this answer, what do you think can be changed to make it clearer for the listener?
I think that instead of it's, like I said something it's, and instead of I can say electronic device.
Yeah, exactly. See, so you do know. So see, there. I mean, a lot of people think that self-review is very difficult because they don't have an idea of what they can change. But then when you really look at it, right, it's like revising your writing. So, yeah, the it here is a pronoun, and technically in English literature and editing, we call this a dangling modifier. You don't need to remember that unless you want to become an English teacher, or it's also called. It's not an unclear pronoun, but something like that. It's basically where we use a pronoun like it or them, and we don't really know what we're talking about because it hasn't been stated. So you're absolutely right. We can replace this with a more accurate, at least a subjective noun like electronic devices, right? People can see and touch the devices. Okay, so like that, or touch the electronics, or you can even say touch the merchandise. Okay, so what they're going to buy. So replacing that it with a better word will increase both your coherence mark and your lexical resource because you're giving me better vocabulary. Of course, it is not considered any kind of special vocabulary. So as soon as you replace it, you're doing better. Okay. We can take that idea and apply it to another one of your answers. Here. Let's look at this. So I said some common machines are dangerous for children. Can you give me an example? And you said, I think there are a bunch of dangerous machines. I really liked that. I liked how you use the bunch of. Bunch of is a kind of informal language, which means many. And you can use that kind of language in your speaking and it will get you scores. It's natural sounding, it's good lexical resource, and even though it's informal, it's good communication. So bunch of, you did a good job using that. And then you said the first thing that comes to my mind. So you can improve that. What can you replace there? It's kind of like the it. It's the same kind of concept.
I think the danger.
The word thing.
No.
Thing is just like it. It has very low value.
Yeah.
It has almost zero value. So anytime that you're using the word thing in your communication, think about replacing it with a better word. So what could I use here instead of the word thing?
Machine.
Yeah, the first machine. Okay. Okay. Sure. The first machine that comes to mind, or the first object that comes to mind. Okay. There's another word for kitchen machines, but that'll pop into my mind later, I'm sure. So the first machine anything is better than thing. Okay. So the first machine that comes to my mind is a cooker. What do you mean by a cooker? That's a little bit. Maybe the British use that word, but here in Canada we don't use it as much. We use the word stove. I think that's what you're using, or the oven. Okay, for baking bread, for example. Because when a child is cooking, now, do children cook?
No, I thought that's I recognize it when I finished it, and I could say something better.
Oh yeah, I agree. Right, children. We in most cases. I mean, some people they start them early, but I know that I don't let my children cook just yet, especially if I'm not supervising them. So, when do children usually burn themselves on a stove or an oven?
Mm, when parents do not trick them.
Yeah, or when they're playing near the stove or the
Uh,
oven, right? So,
yeah.
because when a child is playing near the oven, they can burn their hands. There was a bit of awkward word order there. Okay. All right. Now, here, the question is what are some common machines? Right? It's plural, Omirjan. So, really pay attention to that plural. And whenever you hear a question that's asking you for a plural, try to give at least two. What's another machine that's dangerous for children other than an oven?
Did I say another?
No, you didn't, but you should.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying is you should say another one because it's asking you what some common machines. Can you give me an example of some, right? So it's not
okay.
can you give me an example of one, it's can you give me an example of some. As soon as you hear that some, you should think at least two because as the examiner right now, I'm thinking that you only partially answered the question. And if the examiner feels like you're only partially answering questions, then you're not picking up full marks. Okay?
Okay.
So giving me just one example would be a partial answer. So you'd want another one here. Can you give me another machine that could be dangerous? If you look at the chat, some people are including some answers or ideas there for you.
I think mixer.
Um,
Blender.
blender. Yeah, that's usually called the blender for like mixing juice or blending juice. Yeah, so a blender. Also a blender lots, a blender or an electric screwdriver, right? Can be dangerous for kids as they can cut themselves with these. Okay, so just like that. So at least two. All right. And let's forego the terrible sounding example right now. I don't want to make everybody feel horrific from talking about somebody getting blended by a child getting blended. So examples are important. And so one question, Omerjan, that a lot of people ask me is, should I include an example for every question? Right? No.
No.
The answer is not necessarily. So if you try to include an example for every single question, the examiner might start to get frustrated that you're over speaking because they only have that 12 to 15 minutes. So I always tell people that you should include an example for about 60% of the questions. Definitely for part two, give something that's real world. And for maybe 3 of the 5 questions in part 1, 3 of the 5 questions in part 3, you should include an example. But for a couple, you don't necessarily need to. Like, I don't need to include a horrific example for this one, right? Like, oh, my cousin last year chopped off his leg with a lawnmower. So, maybe the examiner would be like, ooh, really? Did you just have to tell me that? So you kind of know from the question where those examples make sense, okay?
Okay.
All right, let's try this one again, Omirjan. So some common machines are dangerous for children. Can you give me an example of some and why they are dangerous? I think there are a bunch of dangerous machines. The first one that comes to mind is a stove, because when a child is playing near a hot oven, they can burn their hands. Also, a blender or an electric screwdriver can be dangerous for kids as they can cut themselves with these. Here we go, Omirjan. Some common machines are dangerous for children. Can you give me an example of some and why they are dangerous?
I think there are a bunch of dangerous machines. The first machine that comes to mind is a stove, because when a child is playing near a hot oven, they can burn their hands. Also, a blender or an electric screwdriver can be dangerous for kids as they can cut themselves with this.
Good. Bit of practice, right? I mean, you have to build for that fluency and accuracy, but you can get there. So I think that if I remember correctly, you said that your goal is a band 6, right? For like
Yeah.
that's what you need at least anyway. Of course, your goal is a band 9 because you want to be perfect, but you need at least a 6. Omirjan, I definitely think that you have improved quite a bit, at least in your communication strategy over the past couple of weeks. So you're in the right direction. So keep it up for the next week, and I have a good feeling about your results. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Omirjan, we'll talk again later. Okay.
Okay. Bye.
All right, bye. That was Omirjan. You can give him a thumbs up. He did a good job there. So this is what we're going to do for the remainder of the class. You volunteer, we practice, and I give you strategy. Pay attention. You could be next. Okay. All right. Let's see. We've got some volunteers in here. That's great. Keep hanging out, students. Don't give up, right? We've got Bolat in here. Bolat is sending me a message. I don't think we've talked with Bolat in the past, so let's see if Bolat is available. Are you ready, Bolat, for some questions now that you know what's going on? All right, Balat says yes. Hi, Balat.
How are you?
I am doing great. How are you doing, Balat?
I'm fine too.
All right, Balat, where are you calling from?
I'm from Kazakhstan.
From Kazakhstan. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just like Omirjan, he's also from
Yeah.
Kazakhstan. Yes. Do you know each other?
No.
Yeah, like how did you know he's from Kazakhstan? Is he your neighbor? Just the name, right? I'm guessing you probably picked up on that.
Yes.
Or guessed
I just joined it and I see that Womerjan is the Kazakh name. That's why.
Yeah, we have students coming in from Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan as well at times. So it's great to see that diversity. Bolat, why are you taking the IELTS exam?
I wanted to study abroad.
Okay. What do you want to study?
Sorry, I didn't listen.
What do you want to study abroad?
I want to study project management.
Project management. All right. You want to tell people what to do, right? You go over there, do that. You do that. That's a good job. No, project management is great. I have a very good friend who does that, and he loves it. So good for you. Okay, Balat, well, let me help you with that a bit. Let me ask you some part 3 questions. Give me some answers, and I will give you feedback. Are you ready?
Yes, I think I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Some common machines are dangerous for children. Can you give me an example of some and why they are dangerous?
That's an interesting question. I think for me, it's a dishwasher because that's a big machine, and I want to give example. So a few months ago, I left my younger brother at home alone, and he cooked by himself and wanted to wash dishwasher. Nevertheless, after the washing, after this process, there was some error, and he burned his hand.
How have electronics changed in the past 20 years?
The electrons have changed greatly since if we compare the machines before 20 years and currently, so there are huge change. Let me give an example. Before people read books by like paper books, but nowadays it's easy to read via internet or via ebook, and audio books with this way that nowadays huge changes.
Do you
And
think
I
there
believe,
will be more changes in the future?
sure, I believe since technology is uh, changing, changing forward. So I believe that in the future we couldn't imagine that how big changes would be. That uh, nowadays people are more creative and they will be create something easy for people, for society. That's why I believe that our young people will offer more devices.
All right. So let me give you a bit of feedback on that. You did some things well, and of course, there are some places for improvement. First of all, you understood the questions, you answered them. Your overall band score so far would be about a band 5, I want to say.
Right. Okay.
5 means that you can more or less answer the questions, but you kind of get stuck and you're not being completely fluent, which means that your ideas are not flowing together. And that will come with practice, okay? So one of the first big tips I have for you is just practice, 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 practice lots, okay? And the other tip I have for you is really stick to answer, explain, example. All right.
Okay.
So oftentimes you gave me an answer that wasn't perfectly clear, and then you tried to make it clear by giving me an example. And the example tended to be a very long example where I was forced to interrupt you to go to the next question, because for the examiner it starts to feel like there's just no end to the example.
Okay.
You don't want to do that, okay? Instead of the example, you want to give an explanation. So think about the word because or since. So because of this, since that, as a result of this, okay? So, and when you do give the example, don't say, let me give an example. That's basically like the worst that you can say, because the first time you did that, I was like, okay, give me the example, but hopefully it's not going to be too long. And then you started telling me about your younger brother and how he was at home using the washing. He was cooking. Something happened with the program. It malfunctioned. He burned himself. And I was like, okay, is there like, is this?
Okay, I get it.
Yeah, it's getting too long, right? So I'm really driving this point home for you. And you know, the first one I was like, okay, now I'll just interrupt you and go to the next one. So I'm giving you the mind of the examiner. So how the examiner is thinking, okay? And then the next question, you said, let me give you an example again. By the second time, in my mind, the examiner's mind, they're like, uh-oh, here comes another big example, right? So you have to avoid that, right? Because otherwise it's going to take your mark down, down, down. And your goal is just to get that high mark, right? And so... Okay, so we're going to focus on that in a second. Another positive point that you did here, when I asked you the question, how have electronics changed in the past 20 years? You used the present perfect. You said electronics have changed greatly, which was very good. I don't know if anybody caught it, but Omirjan did not do that. Omirjan used the simple past, right? And that's a negative point. So you have to use the present perfect. You did that well here, using the present perfect at the beginning, okay? Now, if you say there are huge change, you have to stay with the present perfect. There have been huge changes.
Okay.
Such as more powerful machines that are more durable and weigh less. Okay, so you want to explain it instead of saying, let me give you an example. And then if you do give me an example, just go directly into it. Before, people read books or paper books, I mean. But nowadays it is easy with the internet or ebooks to read information in digital form. Okay, so a little bit more clarity. All right. Okay, and then you'll be better off. So just be really careful for those points. If you practice those points, you will do better. And same thing. So remember, I said to Omer Jean, you can't just talk about one item when they say what are some items. So you talked about the dishwasher, which is fine. Keep it simple. Person can burn themselves, and then say another item, right? So iron, right, for clothes. People can burn themselves with that as well. Okay, let's do a little bit of repetition. Here we go. How have electronics changed in the past 20 years? Electronics have changed greatly if we compare the machines of today to 20 years ago. There have been huge changes, such as more powerful machines that are durable and weigh less. Before, people read books on or paper books, but nowadays it's easy with the internet or ebooks to read information in digital form. How have electronics changed in the past 20 years?
Electronics have changed greatly if we compare machines today with before 20 years. So, years and currently, there have been huge changes, such as more powerful machines that are more powerful machines that are more durable and weigh less. Before, people read books or paper books, but nowadays it is easy with the internet or ebooks to read the information in digital form.
Okay, good. Now notice that that example makes sense because it's just a clear example. You don't need to say, for example, right? Okay, so keep practicing. So really focus on the answer, explanation, example. Keep the examples simple and then wait for the next question. Don't just keep talking until the examiner interrupts you because it will make for an awkward conversation and it will result in a lower score. Okay?
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay. Have a great rest of your day. Whereabouts are you in Kazakhstan, just out of curiosity? Which city?
I live in Nur-Sultan city. It's the capital city of Kazakhstan.
Oh, so you're in the same city as Omerjan. You guys could practice together. So Omerjan is still in here. Once we're finished talking, if you want, you can send Omerjan a message, just like you sent me,
of course.
and say, hey, do you want to practice some speaking over the next couple of days? And then you guys can practice together using the website, figure out some times to meet up.
I will try to find you.
Yep, perfect. Okay, Polat, have a great rest of your day.
Okay, thank you.
Right,
You too.
bye. So students, this is for everybody, right? So you don't have to just talk to me. You can talk to each other as well, all right? And it's a great way to improve. You can help each other, right? It's like your speaking partner, right? Okay, that's why we call it a student partner speaking for this function of the website, not talk to Adrian function, all right? All right, good. Okay, let's take somebody else. Mizad, we haven't heard from you in a while. Let's see, lots of messages. Mizad is very studious. Are you ready, Mizad? And I will look for old students and new students. We'll mix it up. Here we go. Mizad is ready.
So very good morning. How are you?
Hi, Mizad. I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Yes, I'm too good. Thank you.
All right. Okay, Mizad, just the first tip right away. Don't say I'm too good. It's kind of strange to say that. Do you know why? And this is the reason I'm telling you that is because a lot of students, especially Arabic students, often use the word to incorrectly. So let me show you this because even high-level English speakers sometimes use this word incorrectly. So if you say I'm too good, okay, so we're talking, it's awkward. The word to is usually used in a negative context. Is usually used negatively, like there's too much of something.
Okay.
Okay. So in some rare slang, we use it in a positive way, but I don't want to confuse you, so I'd rather not go into that. So I'm too good. It either sounds like you're using some really fancy slang, which is a bit awkward on the IELTS anyways, or you're using it incorrectly. So instead of too good, you just want to say I'm doing great or I'm doing excellent. Okay, so one more time,
Fine.
Azad, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great, sir. Thank you.
There, much better. Clean, clear, no weird language. Yeah. If you're not sure about a piece of English, always check. English is sometimes really weird, and I agree with that. Okay. So,
Yes.
Mizad, which country are you in? Can you remind me?
I'm from India.
From India. Okay. Which
Yes, I'm
state?
from India. I'm from Mumbai, Maharashtra.
Maharashtra, from Mumbai. I have a colleague in Mumbai. He's a great guy. So, yeah. Mumbai is a big city, is it not?
Yes, it's the financial capital of India.
Financial capital of India. Good to know. All right. Okay. So, Mizad, let's tackle some of these speaking part 3 questions. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. So, do you think there will be more changes to electronic devices in the future?
Yes, certainly there'll be more changes in the future because electronics have paved the way for multifunctional devices like a smartwatch and a smartphone. And I think that computers are increasingly faster. They are getting more portable and better than ever. And with all these revolutions, I think technology has also made our life easier, faster, better, and more fun.
Let's talk about household items.
Yeah.
How have household items helped people in their daily lives over the past half century?
Yes, it has certainly helped a lot. Let's take the example of a washing machine, where in the past days people had to wash their clothes by their hands, so it was quite a tedious task. But now this has certainly changed, wherein most of the houses people own a washing machine, and the job is done within few minutes.
What are some of the most popular kitchen appliances today?
Well, I think one of the most popular kitchen appliances is a gas stove, is an automatic ignition gas stove, where most of the peoples have it in their home.
As society develops, so do our household electronics. What kinds of electronics do you think might help around the house in the future?
I think there'll be many items which will be helping the society in the future. Uh, let's take the example of a microwave oven, which helps to get a food cooked very instantly. Or even if we take the example of an induction cooker, where people have to not rely on gas and they can get the job done electronically right away itself.
Okay, good. All right. You definitely have great vocabulary. So I would say that your lexical resource mark, your vocabulary mark, is around an 8. Okay, your fluency is quite good as well. So you're answering the questions clearly. It's your coherence score where you need to focus a little bit more, and the way that you're emphasizing your words, you want to target that as well to improve your score. I think that for these answers you would be around a band 6.5, maybe a 7, but I do think that with the correct strategy you should be aiming at least for a 7.5, so at least for one band higher. You just have to change a little bit of the way that you answer these questions, okay? So
Okay,
I kind
sir.
of started you off with the question that I asked last previously of how will electronics, or do you think there will be more changes in the future to electronics? And you said, yes, certainly there will be. The next answer you also started with the yes, certainly. Try to switch up your start to your responses. So try to make sure that you're not always starting your answers with yes, certainly. Okay? So try to have a little bit of
Yes.
diversity there. That will help your score. But using it once or twice is okay. So he said, yes, certainly there'll be. You're really contracting your words. Now, this question is asking you about the future. So we're using the future participle will. Okay. Really emphasize that in your answer. So when you're talking about the future, really, say, yes, certainly there will be. So put a big stress on will. There will be more changes in the future to technology. Okay, so emphasize that. What's another way to say will in English, like to indicate future? You definitely know this.
Might.
You learned this early in your English studies. So the teacher always says you could say will be, or you can also say something be. Yeah, Juan Pablo in the chat is giving us the answer. What's a synonym for will to indicate the future?
Shall.
Shall is okay, but going to is more common. Going to be. Okay.
Going to be. Okay.
And you use it, I'm sure. Sometimes we use a slang. We say gonna be instead of going to be. Gonna be. And gonna is even okay. All right. So yes, certainly there will be more changes in the future to technology. There are going to be more powerful devices that can do more than what we have today. Because scientists and engineers are working hard to solve the problems and needs of society. Okay. And then visualize. So when you hear these kinds of questions, you really want to visualize, right? So here's our answer, here's our explanation, and we're really showing the examiner that we understand that we're talking about the future. Okay, Mizad, what are some really cool technology that we want to see in the future? I'm sure you can think of a few. Maybe some people in the chat can help you with this as well. So just, think about your science fiction movies. Think about your dreams and ambitions. What are some devices, some electronics, some gadgets that are in the future?
I would like to see artificial intelligence a robot.
Yeah. Robot.
Which will be assisting.
Absolutely. Look at you go. So Mizad, tell me that when I ask you this question, and I'll give you more band scores because I love robots. No, the examiner is not subjective like that, but you're using a lot of good vocabulary and accurate information. So like AI robots that help people around the house.
Yes, absolutely.
What else?
People around. People around the house.
So AI robot, what's another kind of cool gadget that we see in science fiction movies or that we actually hope will be in society? There's a few more.
Yeah. Some cleaning stuff which can get the job done.
Okay.
Some kind of cleaning stuff.
Yeah, don't use the word stuff. We never want to use like cleaning agents or cleaning machines. Sure. How about self-driving cars?
Self-driving cars, yeah, right.
Okay. Or flying cars.
Flying cars, yeah, right, absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot of different kinds of technology, and I could keep going and going, like brain implants that allow you to download information directly into your head. It's kind of scary technology like that, but we've got lots of different technology on the horizon. So if you think about those, just Mizad, just think about what would Elon Musk say to this question. Okay. Right.
Yeah, he would say a lot.
Elon Musk would say a lot. Elon Musk would probably get stuck on this question for his entire interview, right? So if you think about him, you can definitely come up with some good examples. Okay, so quick, clever thinking like that gets you some good marks. Okay, So let's
Yes.
try this question one more time. So, do you think there will be more changes in the future to electronic devices? Yes, certainly there will be more changes in the future to technology. There are going to be more powerful devices that can do more than what we have today, because scientists and engineers are working hard to solve the problems and needs of society, like AI robots that help people around the house, or self-driving or flying vehicles that get people to their jobs quickly and efficiently. Here we go. Do you think there will be more changes in the future to technology?
Yes, certainly there'll be more changes in the future to technology. There are going to be more powerful devices that can do more than what we have today, because scientists and engineers are working hard to solve the problems and needs of the society, like artificial intelligent robots that help people around the house, self-driven cars and flying cars will also play an important role and part in the future.
Okay, awesome, good. And remember that first will, really pronounce it, right? There certainly will be, like really emphasize the will
Will be.
be. Okay, because that's telling me that
Absolutely.
you've gotten the question and you're clear on what you need to do. Okay,
Yes, sir.
Mizad, good. So keep practicing that. Focus on content. You have good English, you have good grammar, you just really want to focus on quick ideas and good content, okay?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, sir.
All right, awesome. Keep up the good work, Mizad. Bye for now.
Bye, sir. Take care. Have a nice day.
Thank
Bye.
you.
You're welcome.
All right, that was Mizad. That was really good. Yeah. Arbin says Elon Musk will be releasing the flying car in March. So something to look forward to there. All right, that was really good. Okay, let's keep going here. So let's take another student. We have Mizad, Baljit, Balat, Turi Ip, Roshni Gupta in here. Juan Pablo. We haven't heard from Juan Pablo in a long, long time. Let's see if Juan is available. Yeah. Juan says, Sup, Adrian. Long time no see. What up, Pablo? Are you ready? If we're doing a bit of slang, let's do a bit of slang. A little bit of slang is okay in the speaking. So some students are really concerned that if they use informal language like wanna or gonna, they will lose marks. Not true. I think I used it in my speaking. I got a band 9. Okay. All right, Juan, let's hope that it works. Here we go.
Hello,
Hi, Juan.
can you hear me?
Loud and clear, like you're sitting in my ear.
Oh, good, good. I was concerned about it.
No
I
worries.
think sometimes my connection isn't working very well. So yeah,
The trick is, Juan,
sometimes
just don't give up. Just keep calling, right? All right, Juan. You are in Brazil,
Argentina.
Argentina. I always guess Brazil with Juan, the name, but okay, Argentina, right? Okay. And have you sat the IELTS exam? You've been studying for the IELTS for some time now.
I haven't because I think I still need to do some planning. Maybe I'll do it at the end of the year or next year. Because I still have to work on some, for example, in listening and reading. I've been watching your videos and it's kind of tricky for me. It's all about strategy, I think,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
definitely.
I still need to learn it.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
when I do,
go ahead, Juan. Finish what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah, when I watching your classes, at the end of the class, you do like a sum up of the scores. I get really bad scores, so I still need to learn the strategy.
Yeah, fair enough. And it's good that you're assessing yourself and then, constantly improving. And if you're not in a rush to do the IELTS exam, then there's no point. Like if you have a bit of time, then use that time, obviously, because the higher the score that you get, the better. Plus, the exam score is valid for 2 years. So for universities or immigration, you can use it for 2 years and then it expires. So you might as well wait until the kind of final 1 or 2 months. Don't wait until the last minute, because just in case you get really nervous during the test and you need to sit the exam a second time, then give yourself that space. But yeah, if you've got time, that's good. Okay, Juan. Well, let me help you out here a little bit with some practice. Are you ready for some questions?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so let's talk about household items. How have household items helped people in their daily lives over the past half century?
I think they have helped in many ways, especially the ones related to comfort and optimization of things you have to do around the house. For example, there are some that help us make things quicker, like the microwave. If I want to prepare food quickly and I'm in a hurry, I can just do it in the microwave. And also, for example, the AC that have helped us feeling better in the summer, and feeling more comfortable around the house.
What are some of the most popular kitchen appliances and why?
The most popular kitchen appliances, I think they are, for example, the gas oven, like I said before, the microwave, also washing machine. What else? Maybe also coffee maker. I don't drink coffee, but it's very popular in America, for example. And they are very popular because our people use it on a daily basis, and basically we can conceive life without them because we use it so often. For example, today I have to do in the morning some laundry, and I use the washing machine.
As society develops, so do our household electronics. What kinds of electronics do you think might help around the house in the future?
I think in the future we're going to deal with some issues, like for example, global warming, and there are going to be certainly appliances and items that are going to help us with that. For example, the IC is going to be very important in the future. Right now, here my city gets really hot in the summer, and having an IC is very important, and not having it could be really dangerous for old people and babies. So also, well, I talked about the IC, which is helpful for feeling better, but also some items related to communication and entertainment are going to be really important in the future. For example, smart TVs. I think to develop, and they're going to be better and have a better quality.
All right, that is the end of part 3. That concludes the speaking portion of the test. You will have your mark in 2 days online, and you will have your official certificate in the mail in 10 days. Goodbye. All right, don't go anywhere.
Thanks.
That's and then when the examiner says that, some students just kind of run out, like they're like, oh, I'm out. But you should say, okay, thank you, have a nice day, and then get up and then leave the interview room, or if you're on the computer, then say thank you, goodbye, and then they'll end the communication. So finish the conversation, right? So sometimes students don't do that. Sometimes the examiner says goodbye, and then the student's like, ugh, and then they run away feeling like they did horrible, which is usually not true. Okay. All right. So let me reflect. That was really good. I think you would definitely get a band 7.5, I want to say. Okay. You've got a lot of clarity there. This is kind of for everybody. Notice how Juan paused at the start before answering. So you took about 2-3 seconds before you gave me an answer. And then you gave me an answer. Your fluency score is not affected by that pause at all. Okay, you can get a band 9 in fluency even if you pause for 2-3 seconds like that, because once you're speaking, I can tell that you're fluent. So the examiner judges your fluency based on your sentences, not on whether or not you pause to think about your answer. And in fact, it's a really good idea to pause for 2 seconds and think about what you will say. So that wisdom, and let me just give this tip to everybody. Juan, just bear with me here for a second. So the wisdom of think before you speak, you know that you have this saying in every culture, think before you speak, is very true for IELTS.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do not lose fluency marks for pausing like that at the start of your response, because I think everybody could tell. I'm sure everybody who's watching right now, they could tell that, oh, Juan was just thinking about his answer, right? So you only lose fluency scores when you get stuck in the middle of sentences and you're really slow to find the words or say the words. Okay, so this question, present perfect, how have household items helped people in their daily lives over the past half century? You said, I think they have helped in many ways. Half century, how long is half a century, Juan?
50 years?
Yeah, it's 50 years. Reflect that part of the question if you can. Okay, so I think they have helped in many ways over the past 50 years. The more accurately you target the question, the more scores you're going to get for lexical resource, coherence, and so forth. Okay. All right. So I think they have helped in many ways over the past 50 years, especially the ones for comfort and optimization. I like that. So I like that explanation, comfort and optimization. For the optimization that you have to do, you switch to the you here, stay away from that, okay? So that people have to do around the house. That was a little bit repetitive, and then you switch to, like the microwave oven, if I want to heat food quickly, I just use the microwave. A slang word for microwave is a nuke oven. Because it uses kind of the same technology as nuclear technology, so that we're nuking the food. Also, the AC helps us feel better. Feel better is okay. Helps us feel what? Instead of better, what would be a better word?
Comfortable?
Helps us feel comfortable, or helps us feel cool and comfortable. Right, because that's what the AC really does. It helps us feel cool and comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay, but overall that was pretty good. So the answer is
I
good.
also noticed that in the moment I see that I said things, maybe the word I was looking for was tasks.
Yeah, exactly. You realize that after. Now, if you realize that you made a mistake, you can correct that. And often we do that naturally. So if I say, well, it helps me with things, I mean to say the tasks or chores that I have around the house. So notice that this is for everybody. Try this repetition here, everybody. Wait for me to type it up, Juan. So I believe these electronics help us with things. I mean to say tasks and chores. Okay. So just repeat this after me, Juan. I believe these electronics helps us with things. I mean to say tasks and chores.
I believe these electronics help us with things. I mean to say tasks and chores.
Yeah. So We do that naturally in English, where we either, or in any language, in fact, if you're speaking Spanish, you're doing this as well. So we go back and correct what we say. So we have these natural strategies for self-correction. Or sometimes it's not to correct ourselves, but it's to give better, more specific words, like replacing the word things with tasks and chores. So even if you catch yourself saying the word you or saying the word things, you don't need to panic, and it's definitely worth the extra effort to stop and correct yourself naturally, to say, I mean people or customers instead of you, right? And the reason why you want to correct that when you make these kinds of mistakes in your speaking section interview is because that will help your brain to avoid the mistake over and over again. So once you correct yourself in your speech, and this is why when people are presenting to a large audience, they're very careful to make these corrections so that they don't repeat it again, so they don't say you or things later, because it kind of fixes the brain. Do you get what I'm saying with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So take that time, take that extra 5 seconds, and the examiner will appreciate it as well, I'm sure. Okay. And it's considered natural, good communication. So self-correction is good. In fact, in oral exams, not just on the IELTS, there's always a mark for the examiners for self-correction. Is the student self-correcting? So when they make a mistake with a word choice or with a verb tense, are they able to go back and correct it? If they are, the mark goes up. If they're not, the mark goes down. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right. So I asked you a couple more questions here. Again, you did a fairly good job of these. I really liked how you connected the microwave oven to your previous answer. That was very good. You said the microwave oven, as I said before, is very popular, and then you said coffee maker, and then you said even though I don't drink coffee. Don't need to tell me that. Okay, I don't really, I'm the examiner, I don't really care if you drink coffee or not. Just keep going with the answer, right? So stick with the answer, okay? All right. Okay, Juan, it was really great to hear your voice, and make sure to read and write if those are areas of weakness regularly, okay?
Yeah, I'm trying to write essays, but it's hard for me to find some time. So yeah, I actually have a couple of books related to essay writing, but they are academic.
It's good.
Essay writing.
It's good. If you can learn to write academic writing, it doesn't really exist. We say it, but it's actually formal writing or professional writing. And that's a very good life skill. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're planning to go to university or if it's just for immigration. If you have good academic or professional writing on the general IELTS exam, task 1, task 2, you will get a good band score. Okay?
Cool.
So keep that in mind. Okay, Juan, have an awesome rest of your day down south.
Thank you for picking me.
Okay. Bye, Juan.
Bye.
Right.
Thank you.
That was Juan. Doing a very good job there. All right. How are we for time? We've got a tiny bit more time, and I made a promise earlier, so let's do this. Sarah, I see that you're back. Are you ready? Sarah was very studious. She was waiting patiently in last class to try, but didn't get the opportunity. So we'll give her a chance here. All right. Here we go. Hi, Sarah.
Hello, sir.
Oh, there we go. Now I hear you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you? How are you doing?
I'm doing good as well. You have been very patient, Sarah, and I know you've been watching the classes, so you're learning lots. You have an exam coming up pretty soon here as well, do you not?
Yeah, I have an exam like the next month.
Okay, so you've got a little bit of time, which is good. All right. Sarah, have you ever seen a spork before?
May you repeat the question?
Yeah, have you ever seen a spork?
A sport? Yeah, I did. we just talked about it like the last episode.
That's right.
Not episode, like the last.
Yeah, last episode is fine. Yeah, last episode. And there are some sporks out and about. I know they've got some in Europe, and I'm sure France is no exception. You've discovered the magic of the spork. That's great. I was curious about that. All right, Sarah. So let me ask you a couple of questions here for part 3, and give me some nice full sentence answers. Sounds good?
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about buying electronics. People like to buy electronics, let me start that again. People like to buy electronic devices online as well as in physical stores. What do you think are the main differences between these two types of shopping?
So, people usually prefer to buy electronic devices offline because they are able to see the machine that they want, to test it, and to know the ability of this machine, if it's working or not. Actually, the main difference between these two method of shopping electronic devices is that in online, the piece that you're buying may damage due to that shipping, so you may lose your money. While in offline, it's you can check the work of the machine that you're buying, as well that. But in another hand, online shopping can save lots of your time as well as money, since you can get lots of new offers. I can tell the last week I wanted to buy a new microwave, and when I went to an offline store, it costed around 100 euros. But when I searched online, I found it in less prices, and with a gift comes with it.
Some common machines are dangerous for children. Can you give me an example of some and explain why they're dangerous?
I can tell about iron. So it seems like it's available in all the houses, and it's too dangerous for children because they may burn their hands while playing, and it doesn't have it's not that safe to put it everywhere. I can tell that my niece, the last week, she was playing around me when I was doing my clothes, and then while she was trying to discover what is the iron and how it does it work, I didn't pay attention, and she burned her fingers.
All right, that is the end of part 3. That concludes the speaking section of the exam. Okay, pretty good, Sarah. Let me ask you, what mistake do you think you made in your first answer? So talking about buying electronic devices online as well as in physical stores, you said people usually prefer to buy electronics offline so that they can see it and test it. Actually, the main difference between these two methods of shopping is that in physical stores, the items are in good shape, but when you buy them online, you may get a damaged product and then you have to send it back. On the other hand, online shopping can save you a lot of money. So what do you think is one of the mistakes that I'm going to point out here?
First, I answered about another question by saying what people prefer, not by answering the main difference.
That's true. So you're right. That did catch my attention. I was like, are we talking about preferences here or differences? It's not the same idea. So it's good that you caught that because I did catch that also. It wasn't what I was thinking about right now, but that's definitely a good point as well. I caught that. What else?
My grammar.
The use of you. So again, I know everybody does this, and that's why I'm going to probably say it a million more times, but avoid the word you. Customers, shoppers, okay? people, individuals, clients use words other than you. So don't say you. What if I'm like old school and I never buy anything online, right? And then saying you buy it online, you do this, it's just all weird because I don't buy anything online and I'm your listener, right? So instead of saying you, replace you with other pronouns or with other subjective nouns that are better, like customers. So when customers purchase online items, they may receive damaged goods because of bad delivery, and then they need to return it to the store. It just leads to better communication. Okay?
Yes.
All right, so avoid that you. Really practice. And when you avoid saying you, you will discover that your communication will improve as well. So you will start to use better words, better word choices, and your vocabulary will improve. Okay, so really pay attention to that. Now, in the next question, and keep it a bit shorter. I found that your answer was a bit long. I would have interrupted you. In the next question, I said, some common machines are dangerous for children. Can you give me an example of some? What do you think my complaint here is as the examiner?
Okay, because they say some, and I just gave one example.
Exactly. Yeah. So the iron would be just one example, right? And immediately it's like with both of the questions, you're not being direct enough. So in the first one you started with they prefer, then you talked about the differences, so you kind of saved yourself. And then here I'm asking you for some, and you're telling me about just the iron and how it's too dangerous. Okay, so you have the iron, and then you have some other machines around the house like the blender, the stove, even a lamp can be dangerous for a baby if they start chewing on the electrical cord. So you can, come up with 2-3 items fairly quickly and easily. The iron is dangerous because a person can burn themselves with it, but it's also dangerous for another reason. And here's where I always encourage speakers to keep their minds open. What's another reason why the iron is dangerous?
I don't actually know.
Can I hit somebody with an iron?
No.
Like if I, boom, hit somebody with an iron, is that an effective tool as a weapon?
Yeah.
You're breaking up, I think, a little bit, Sarah, but I got the yeah part. Why? Why is it an effective weapon? It's a weird way for me to explain it, but why is an iron an effective weapon?
Because it can hurt the other person.
Because it's heavy. If you've ever dropped an iron on your foot, you soon discover that burning is not the only reason the iron is dangerous. If it falls to the ground, it definitely can damage your floor. It can hurt your foot. If you have a child and they pull the iron, even if it's turned off, they can hurt themselves just because it's so heavy. And it can light the house on fire is the other reason it's dangerous. People have lit their homes on fire with ovens for sure. Because they leave it on and they forget about it. So think dynamically, Sarah. Okay, so think dynamically. All right?
All right.
Okay, let's try this question one more time, Sarah. Okay, so some common machines are dangerous for children. Can you give me an example of some and why they are dangerous?
So the first item is an iron. It's dangerous for a kid because it's heavy, and if it's fall on them, it may cause damage, and it may burn them, as well as a stove, because the kids may play and try to discover other stuff, and it may burn them as well. The house. I can tell about the microwave. Because if any kid used the microwave without any elder person with them, it may fire the house.
Light the house on fire.
Yes, light the house on fire.
Yeah, always repeat, because I'm pretty sure I know what I'm saying. So light the house on fire is the correct way. Okay, try one more time. Nice and loud. Light the house on fire.
light the house on fire.
Okay, now another important correction, just as I corrected Mizad with the to, like I'm too good. In English, you generally want to avoid the I can tell about, okay? That was an awkward expression there, I can tell about. I can talk to you about an iron, or I can give the iron as an idea. But instead of using any of that, I would just say the iron. The iron is a dangerous item. So directly, instead of saying I can tell you, instead of telling me what you're going to tell me, just tell me about it. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, so practice those tips, Sarah. Stay away from the you and keep that brain broad and open-minded, and you'll do great, okay?
Thank you, sir.
All right, Sarah, have a great rest of your day, and watch out for that oven and that iron.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye, Sarah. All right, stay safe, everybody. Yes, you should always read instructions and use the appliances accordingly. Students, that's all the time I have for today. In fact, I've gone a little bit over time, but panic not, everyone. If you didn't get a chance today, you can have a chance tomorrow to speak with me. We will do a full speaking mock interview live on Light Hall tomorrow at this time. It's a free class, so you can register for it. There's the link in the chat. It's an awesome platform for live classes. You'll discover classes for computers and other topics as well. And there is a Discord class tomorrow as well. So there's the Discord event link for everybody. Use this site to speak with each other as well. So not just me, but talk to each other. And make sure to use our website for some IELTS learning. All you need to do is click the big red button to join our premium package. It's not expensive. You only pay once, and then you can use it as long as you like. Okay, for general IELTS, it's the green background there, gieltshelp.com. That's it for me for today, but I do hope to see all of you in the Light Hall and Discord class tomorrow. That will be a little bit of a different experience. And then I will post the schedule for next week's YouTube classes shortly, a little bit after this class. So make sure to subscribe, get notifications, hit the bell so you know when these live classes are happening. We'll have some listening and writing and maybe some reading as well next week. We'll see. So some other sections of the IELTS. Thank you for the wishes, and you're very welcome, everybody. Thank you, members, for your support. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada for now. Much love to all of you, wherever you are in the world. Bye for now.